Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on my YouTube channel, you know what to do. It's a football Monday. We recap everything that was going on, and there was a lot. There was a lot to digest. Really quickly, FCS is crazy right now. I think the one thing that we can say for certain is that Sam Houston and North Dakota State are the class of the FCS. And then there are a bunch of teams who are health, getting on a roll, whatever it might be, away from striking. There are also other conferences and teams that are just down. You gotta love what they're doing at Jackson State and the run they're on, even without their head coach. Even though I thought they played a little sloppy on Saturday for the second week without their coach, and what's looking like probably won't be their coach for a while. They're going to have to clean that up, but you still have to love what they're doing. FBS, the group of five is crazy. SMU lost a tough game. SMU lost a tough game to Houston. That game could have gone either way. On my 6-pack of picks for the Athletic, I chose them to win. They lost. Shout out to Houston. In my opinion, doesn't take anything away from what SMU's been able to do this season. The Pony Express is back. The defense just has to get better. When you look at what Cincinnati did, people are now finding any reason in the world to root against Cincinnati. See, everybody loves a underdog until the underdog's about to do the impossible. Everybody loves an underdog until the underdog's about to do the impossible. And then all of a sudden, nobody loves an underdog anymore. It's amazing how that happens, right? Because everyone at the beginning of the year said, man, if Cincinnati, watch, and I said it, so I know other people were saying it. If Cincinnati wins their game against Indiana, a tough Big Ten team that is on the rise, if they win their contest versus Notre Dame, a team that people have rated high, that they would have the opportunity, they would be putting themselves in place that if they ran the table, they were going to get one of those 4 spots. There's just way too much pressure on the college football committee to leave them out. And the only thing Cincinnati has done is their job. They beat everybody in front of them. Oh my gosh, well, they didn't look as impressive versus Tulane. Okay, so style points matter for them, but style points don't matter for the other teams. Style points only matter for Cincinnati because Cincinnati is not an SEC team or a Big Ten team or a Big 12 team. So Oklahoma's win over Kansas, who I'm pretty sure would be in a barn burner shootout and or get blown out by Tulane. Oklahoma struggles with Kansas. Don't hurt their chances because they play other mediocre Big 12 teams. But Cincinnati's double-digit handling of Tulane hurts. Then I had Mike Golick Jr. tell me that the reason it's different is because Oklahoma didn't have their current quarterback starting. And my thing is that we can't go back and retroactively change the past. Oklahoma had the Heisman front runner starting at quarterback versus Tulane with an entire summer to get ready for Tulane, and they came out and laid an egg against Tulane. Then they went up against the worst team in the Big 12, and they were awful against the worst team in the Big 12. The next week, by the way, that same Big 12 team that gave Oklahoma all they wanted got lambasted by an Oklahoma State team that doesn't actually have an offense. Oklahoma State's offense is the worst I've seen Oklahoma have in the Mike Gundy era. And yet they beat Kansas down. It wasn't even close. But that doesn't hurt Oklahoma. They've had 2 dud wins, and that doesn't hurt Oklahoma. But a double-digit 18, 19 point, 17 point, whatever it was, win for Cincinnati against Tulane actually demotes them. So you people say you want Cinderella. You say you want Cinderella. You say you want something new. And then when Cinderella presents itself, and you have a chance to put the glass slipper on, you break the slipper. You find, oh, that foot, I don't know, that toe doesn't look right. Well, the leg doesn't look long enough. What about the foot? Just put it in the shoe. Well, it's almost midnight. Just put it in the shoe. Why are we so hell-bent on seeing Oklahoma go to the college football playoff only to get beat again because they haven't figured out how to play defense in 20 years? A team who got taken over by a defensive coordinator never has played defense well. Now, under an offensive coordinator, you think the defense is supposed to get better? You can't smoking rocks? Like, what's going on? I can't be the only person looking at this going, we've seen this show before. We know the ending. Points, yards, woo. Big 12 title, smacked by 25 in the playoffs. We've seen this show. Do you really think that Oklahoma is going to be able to do something with Georgia? You've seen it before. You know what we haven't seen? Cincinnati in the playoffs. So if they run the table, and that's an if, because the AAC is not easy. The AAC has elevated themselves to a level of football that is, if not on par, right underneath where the Power Five are. And the reason they've done that is because most of their teams, if you remember, came from Power Five conferences during realignment. Most of their teams pulled in from Power Five conferences during realignment. The AAC as a basketball conference has a lot of powers in it, has a lot of old school, really good teams in it. So it's not surprising. I just don't know what else you guys want. I mean, come on. As far as the rest of my picks this week, by the way, I didn't pick Cincinnati, but I was 3-3, and I purposely picked games that were close in margin. So games that were going to be decided, had a spread of 3 points or less. Those are the games that I chose. I went 3-3, respectable, especially after the 2-4 I had last week, or the 1-5 I had the week before that. I forget which one it was, but it was 2 bad weeks. So a 3-3 week doing what I did made a lot of sense to me. I thought that all of those games could have went one way or another. Shout out to BYU for getting the W over Virginia. I picked Virginia because I thought in a shootout I gave Virginia the edge, but Virginia can't stop the run, so that's the issue. BYU loves to run it. Virginia can't stop the run. You're probably going to lose that game. In the NFL, it was interesting. A lot of backups got the job done. Mike White getting it done in the jet for the Jets. Really looks bad for Zach Wilson. The fact that he was able to do that to that level looks really bad for Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is officially on notice. And not that Mike White's going to take his spot. I mean, come on, people. Mike White is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Mike White's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. We know it. But you do have to respect what he was able to do in that game. And the fact that Zach Wilson has not had that type of success means that he is on notice. You got to play better, buddy. The New England Patriots won another game in spite of their quarterback, which I always find to be interesting, because people keep on saying, oh, he's this, he's that, and I keep going, he has the most vanilla performances I've ever seen in my life. Okay, whatever. We won't go back and forth with it. Trevor Siemian in New Orleans. You got to appreciate what Trevor Siemian was able to do, jumping into the game when Winston went down. But Siemian is a pro. He has been in the league for a while. He should know how to conduct himself when it comes to taking over as a starter or playing starter minutes, because he's done it for 2 years. Geno Smith getting it done up in Seattle, amid all the people talking all the noise about Geno Smith, completed 85% of his passes yesterday. Shout out to him. And I know I'm missing one more, but it doesn't really matter. What I will talk about here is the Cleveland Browns. I don't want to talk about Baker Mayfield. I know that people out there that want to bash Baker Mayfield, and that's fine. He deserves it sometimes. And I know there are people out there that want to defend Baker Mayfield at all costs, and that's cool too. Everybody needs someone to ride hardcore for them. So if you want to ride hardcore for Baker Mayfield, I guess cool, go ahead. But what I will talk about is the fact that it's hard to find a dynamic offensive weapon at wide receiver. Every year we go into the draft and we find these guys and we say, oh, this guy's phenomenal. Then he goes out there and And all I'm going to say is this. For Baker Mayfield to be a guy who's able to get the ball to anyone, anywhere, how he is not able to get the ball to Odell Beckham Jr. is criminal. There's only two things that's in play here. Either one, Baker Mayfield has issues when it comes to throwing OBJ the ball, or the offense and the offensive coordinator have not designed plays to just get the ball in the hands of Odell Beckham Jr. And that, my friends, is criminal. Why are you wasting Odell Beckham Jr. when you do not have a dynamic offense? When your offense is predicated on a run game and a quarterback doing play action passing and not making mistakes, why do you not have a dynamic to your offense where you get one of the most physically talented players in the NFL the ball and let him go? Because of this, I believe that the Cleveland Browns should trade Odell Beckham Jr. to the New Orleans Saints immediately. I think that if there's anybody who will use OBJ correctly, it's New Orleans. Cleveland clearly has not figured it out, will not figure it out, and they are simply just wasting money and assets. Move on from Odell Beckham. Take him somewhere else. Get him out of there so that people like me can stop saying, why are you not using Odell Beckham Jr.? Because he's doing nothing for your offense because you refuse to get him the ball. This is not on Odell Beckham. I'm tired of people trying to make that. I've watched the film. This is not anybody that wants to sit down and go through a game with me and tell me that they're calling plays specifically to get the ball in the hands of Odell Beckham. I welcome it. I welcome it. If you look in every other city that has a football team, they find ways to get the ball into the hands of playmakers. You know that they're going to find a way to get the ball to Cooper Kupp in LA. You know they're going to find a way to get the ball to A.J. Brown in Tennessee. They're going to find a way to get the ball to Pitts down in Atlanta. They're going to find a way to get the ball to Evans in Tampa Bay. They're going to find a way to get the ball to Gesicki in Miami. They're going to find a way to get the ball. You get where I'm going from. If you're a dynamic playmaker, tight end, wide receiver, running back, they're going to find a way to get you the ball. So the fact that they do not get the ball to Odell Beckham Jr., the fact that he's not getting 10, 12, 13 targets or touches every single game is criminal. Stop wasting him. Stop wasting your time. If you don't want to get him the ball, then move on. New Orleans needs a quarterback. They need a wide receiver. They have a quarterback. He's a little hurt right now, but he'll be back, hopefully. If not, if it is Trevor Siemian, then they need to get on the phone and get Cam Newton in the building immediately. But if you're the Browns, why are you continuing to waste your time with OBJ if you refuse to use him like you should use a number one wide receiver? It makes no sense. Zero sense. Cut ties. That way you don't have to keep on hearing all of the talk. Cut ties. Get something that might actually help and improve your team for him. Because he's not helping. He's not improving. You're turning him into an ordinary guy. And he had old Eli. So if the Browns need to do anything on this trade deadline, they need to try to find a way to get that man out the door. And the best place to me is New Orleans. Because if he goes to New Orleans, now they have a number one until Michael Thomas gets back. And then when Michael Thomas gets back, you pair them together. You have OBJ, who can do a lot of the over-the-top work. Plus also, you can just get the ball into the hands of. And then you got Michael Thomas, who does what he does, which is box out and catch intermediate to short balls all day. Perfect combination, right? Everybody wins, right? Because this OBJ thing isn't working in Cleveland. And as far as the rest of you out there masquerading around with blah quarterbacks, are you trying to lose on purpose? Washington, are you trying to lose on purpose? Because you know you're going to get fired, right? You know the coaching staff, you're going to get fired. They're not going to let you survive through this. You're going to get fired. And you deserve to get fired. Because Cam Newton is out there. Carolina, maybe your pride won't let you go home. But Cam Newton is out there. And there are teams out there that should really be reaching out. Again, New Orleans. If Jameis Winston is out for the season, pick that phone up. Call Cam Newton. Save your season. It only makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. We do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Till next time. Peace.